3:17 a.m. January 14, 2026, Southeast Portland, Oregon. A four-man FBI SWAT element moved toward the front porch of a two-story Craftsman home on Woodstock Boulevard. Standard residential breach, 3 seconds from the door. Then every light on the property activated at once. The sprinkler system fired. The front door lock engaged with an audible electromagnetic click, and a voice came through the home's exterior speakers. "I can see all of you." The element pulled back. Within 90 seconds, the on-scene commander requested additional resources. Within 4 hours, 47 federal agents surrounded a single residential address. It would take 22 hours to get inside. The target's name was Erik Soren, 34 years old, former cybersecurity consultant. The sealed federal indictment against him listed 47 counts of computer fraud, extortion, and conspiracy to endanger public infrastructure. The investigation behind that indictment had been running for 19 months. Between March 2023 and November 2025, someone had been systematically targeting municipal water treatment systems across the Pacific Northwest. The attacks followed a pattern: a control system breach, a demonstrated capability to alter chemical dosing levels, then a ransom demand, payable in Monero cryptocurrency. 43 water treatment facilities received the same message. The phrasing was clinical, technical, almost bureaucratic. No threats of mass harm. Just a quiet demonstration that the sender could adjust chlorine or fluoride concentrations beyond safe thresholds, followed by a payment demand calibrated to each municipality's annual budget. Small cities received demands under $1 million. Larger systems received demands of $3 to $5 million. The total across all 43 targets, $67 million. 12 cities paid. The combined payments totaled $14.3 million. The FBI Cyber Division opened the case in June 2024 after the city of Bend, Oregon refused to pay and reported the intrusion to federal authorities. The initial assessment classified the threat as moderate. That classification changed 3 months later when analysts at the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center identified identical malware signatures across 9 separate municipal systems in Oregon, Washington, and Idaho. The attacks used a modified variant of a known ransomware strain, but the targeting was unusual. Municipal water treatment systems run on industrial control software, SCADA platforms, that most cybercriminals avoid. The systems are old, the documentation is sparse, exploiting them requires specific knowledge of operational technology environments. The FBI's Portland field office assigned the case to a cybercrime task force led by Supervisory Special Agent Dana Whitfield. Her team started with the malware. Forensic analysis of the code revealed consistent programming habits, variable naming conventions, and a timestamp pattern suggesting the author operated in Pacific Standard Time. The Monero blockchain provided almost nothing. That was the point. Monero's privacy architecture made transaction tracing orders of magnitude harder than Bitcoin. The task force needed a different approach. They found one in the human layer. 3 of the 12 cities that paid had communicated with the attacker through encrypted email. In each case, the attacker provided specific technical instructions for the payment process. Those instructions contained metadata fragments. Not much, but enough. One email header contained a partial IP address that traced to a commercial VPN service based in Romania. The FBI's legal attaché office in Bucharest coordinated with Romanian authorities to obtain server logs under a mutual legal assistance treaty. The logs showed that one specific account had connected to that VPN node 847 times over a 6-month period. The connection originated from a residential internet service provider in Portland, Oregon. By September 2025, the task force had narrowed the suspect pool to a single address. Surveillance began on October 3, 2025. The target, a Craftsman-style home on Woodstock Boulevard, owned by Erik Soren. Soren's background fit the profile precisely. He held a master's degree in computer science from Oregon State University, with a concentration in network security. From 2018 to 2022, he worked as a cybersecurity consultant for a Portland firm that contracted with several municipal utility systems in Oregon. His work included SCADA vulnerability assessments. He knew the systems, he knew their weaknesses, and he had legitimate credentials that in several cases had never been revoked after his contracts ended. Soren left the consulting firm in late 2022. Tax records showed no subsequent employment income. His mortgage payments continued without interruption. The gap between his visible income and his expenditures was approximately $9,000 per month. Physical surveillance over the following weeks revealed additional details. Soren rarely left the house. Grocery deliveries arrived twice weekly. He had no regular visitors. The home's electrical consumption was roughly 3 times the neighborhood average, consistent with significant computing equipment running continuously. Thermal imaging confirmed concentrated heat signatures in the basement, suggesting a server installation. The home itself had been extensively modified. Soren had installed a commercial-grade smart home system, remotely controlled door locks, a comprehensive camera array covering all exterior approaches, motorized window shutters, an integrated speaker system, and networked control of lighting, HVAC, and the irrigation system. Property records showed he had also replaced the standard interior doors with steel core models and added supplementary deadbolts to every exterior entry point. The task force obtained the sealed indictment on January 8, 2026. The arrest plan called for an early morning execution. FBI SWAT from the Portland field office would conduct the entry, supported by cybercrime agents prepared to secure digital evidence before it could be destroyed. On January 14th, at 3:17 a.m., the team approached and Soren was ready. The first indication came from the exterior cameras. Soren had configured them to send motion alerts directly to his phone. The SWAT element had neutralized the streetlights along Woodstock Boulevard, but Soren's camera system included infrared capability. He saw them before they reached the property line. His response was immediate and systematic. He activated every exterior light, eliminating the team's darkness advantage. He triggered the sprinkler system across the front and side yards, creating a water barrier and reducing visibility. He engaged the electromagnetic locks on all exterior doors, locks rated for 1,200 pounds of holding force. Then he opened a two-way audio channel through the home speaker array. The on-scene commander, SSA Whitfield, made the decision to transition from a dynamic entry to a containment operation. The team established a perimeter. Additional agents arrived within the hour. By 5 a.m., the staging area included FBI SWAT, a hostage negotiation team, a tactical communications unit, and a mobile cyber operations cell. Soren had no hostages. He was alone in the house. Under normal barricade protocols, the tactical calculus would favor patience. Wait him out, negotiate. But this situation had a complicating factor. The task force had intelligence suggesting that Soren maintained active access to at least 4 water treatment control systems. His server room was online. Every hour he remained inside with functioning computer equipment was an hour during which he could potentially execute commands against municipal infrastructure, serving hundreds of thousands of people. If you're watching this and you follow this channel, hit subscribe. The next hour of this standoff goes somewhere no one expected. Negotiators made contact at 5:22 a.m. through the home speaker system. Soren responded. He was calm, articulate. He confirmed he was alone and uninjured. He stated that he would not exit the residence. He made no explicit threats against water systems, but he referenced his ongoing projects twice in the first 20 minutes of dialogue. At 6:15 a.m., SSA Whitfield requested authorization from the FBI's Critical Incident Response Group to deploy cyber countermeasures concurrent with the negotiation. The authorization came at 6:41 a.m. The mobile cyber operations cell designated CyberTAC set up in a converted panel van parked 2 blocks from the target address. The team consisted of 4 FBI cyber specialists and 2 contractors from the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency. Their mission: systematically identify and disable Soren's smart home infrastructure and sever his access to external networks. The first challenge was the home's internet connection. Soren used a fiber optic line from a regional provider, supplemented by a cellular backup from a commercial hotspot. Simply cutting the fiber would trigger the automatic failover to cellular. CyberTAC needed to disable both simultaneously, but doing so would also cut the negotiation channel, which ran through the same speaker system connected to Soren's home network. They improvised. A tactical communications technician established an independent audio link using a throw phone, a hardened communication device designed to be delivered to barricade subjects. An agent placed it near the front door at 7:30 a.m. Soren retrieved it at 8:14 a.m. With the independent communication channel established, CyberTAC moved to Phase 2. At 8:47 a.m., they coordinated with the utility provider to cut fiber service to the block. Simultaneously, a portable cell site simulator, commonly known as a Stingray device, intercepted Soren's cellular backup and prevented it from reaching the commercial network. Soren lost internet connectivity. His remote access to external systems was severed. He noticed within minutes. Over the throw phone, his tone shifted. He accused the FBI of escalation. The negotiator maintained a steady dialogue, acknowledging Soren's frustration while probing for any indication of imminent threats. The internet disruption solved one problem. It created another. Soren's smart home system operated on a local network that continued to function without internet access. He still controlled every lock, camera, light, and sprinkler head in the house, and now he was angry. At 9:33 a.m., Soren cycled the exterior sprinkler system to full pressure and directed it at the agents positioned along the south perimeter. He activated a sound system feature that broadcast a continuous high-frequency tone through the exterior speakers. Not loud enough to cause hearing damage, but persistent enough to degrade concentration. He also began systematically moving through the house, closing motorized window shutters that blocked the SWAT team's line of sight into the interior. Within 30 minutes, every window was sealed. The team's thermal imaging still showed his heat signature, but they lost all visual confirmation of his activity. Between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m., the standoff settled into an uncomfortable stalemate. Soren communicated intermittently through the throw phone. He referenced his legal rights. He stated he wanted an attorney present before any interaction with federal agents. He asked about the specific charges. The negotiation team shared limited information per standard protocols. They confirmed a federal warrant existed. They offered to arrange attorney access if Soren exited the residence peacefully. He declined. During this period, CyberTac worked on a parallel objective, gaining access to Soren's local network. The smart home system used a commercial platform with known vulnerabilities. The team identified the specific model through FCC filings linked to the property's smart home installation permit. They obtained technical documentation directly from the manufacturer under an emergency disclosure agreement. At 2:17 p.m., a CyberTac operator gained access to the smart home system's administrative interface through a maintenance backdoor that the manufacturer had left active. The access was read-only initially. The operator could see every device connected to Soren's network, 14 cameras, 8 smart locks, the sprinkler controller, HVAC, lighting arrays, the speaker system, and a network-attached storage device linked to the server room. Full control would require a firmware push, uploading modified software to the smart home hub that would transfer administrative rights to the CyberTac team. The process would take approximately 45 minutes and would cause a brief system reboot. Soren would know immediately that something had changed. If you've made it this far, drop a comment. Should law enforcement be allowed to hack a suspect's smart home? This case opens that question wide. SSA Whitfield faced a decision: push the firmware update and risk provoking Soren during a moment of technical disruption, or wait, maintain the negotiation posture, and accept the risk that Soren might have capabilities the team hadn't identified. At 3:45 p.m., 12 hours into the standoff, new intelligence arrived. The Portland Police Bureau's bomb squad reported that building permits filed by Soren in 2024 included electrical work in the basement, consistent with a battery backup system. If accurate, Soren's servers might be operating on stored power independent of the grid. Whitfield made the call. At 4 p.m., CyberTac initiated the firmware push. The smart home hub rebooted at 4:43 p.m. For 90 seconds, every electronic system in the house went dark. Lights off, locks disengaged, cameras offline, sprinklers stopped. The SWAT team moved to breach positions during the blackout window. They reached the front and rear doors in under 60 seconds. The systems came back online at 4:45 p.m., this time under CyberTac's control. Soren attempted to reactivate the exterior defenses. Nothing responded. He tried the locks, the cameras, the speakers, all overridden. Through the throw phone, the negotiator heard him striking a keyboard repeatedly. The SWAT team held position. Whitfield chose not to breach immediately. With the smart home neutralized, the tactical urgency had decreased. She gave the negotiator another window. At 5:30 p.m., Soren stopped responding to the throw phone. Thermal imaging showed him stationary in the basement. CyberTac confirmed that the network-attached storage device was showing unusually high write activity, consistent with data deletion or encryption. Whitfield authorized the breach at 5:47 p.m. The power to the entire block was cut at 5:48 p.m. This had been coordinated with Portland General Electric hours earlier, but held in reserve. Without grid power, Soren's battery backup would sustain his servers, but all other residential systems on the block would go dark, providing the SWAT team with a known darkness environment. Entry came through the rear door. CyberTac had already disengaged the electromagnetic lock remotely. A 3-man element entered the kitchen at 5:49 p.m. A second element simultaneously breached the front door, using a hydraulic ram on the steel cord door, the only entry point where the lock's mechanical deadbolt provided resistance independent of the electronic system. The ground floor was clear. Soren was in the basement. The basement stairs presented a bottleneck. The door at the top had been reinforced with a steel plate. The hydraulic ram made a second appearance. The door gave after 2 cycles. The SWAT element descended into a finished basement that had been converted into a full operational center. 2 racks of servers, 6 monitors, multiple keyboards, an uninterruptible power supply humming on battery backup. Soren was seated at the primary workstation. His hands were on the keyboard. The lead operator gave verbal commands. Soren did not comply. A second command. No movement. The element moved in. Soren was physically removed from the workstation and secured at 5:53 p.m., 22 hours and 36 minutes after the first approach. A cyber attack agent immediately took control of the workstation. The deletion process Soren had initiated was approximately 60% complete. The agent halted the operation and began forensic preservation of the remaining data. Over the following 7 days, FBI digital forensics teams cataloged the contents of Soren's server room. The haul was substantial. The servers contained complete source code for the ransomware variant used against the 43 water treatment systems. Logs showed active Monero wallet management consistent with the receipt and laundering of cryptocurrency payments. Communication records revealed contact with 3 overseas individuals who had assisted with infrastructure, VPN services, anonymous hosting, and cryptocurrency mixing. The most significant finding was operational. Soren had maintained persistent backdoor access to 4 water treatment systems, 2 in Oregon, 1 in Washington, 1 in Idaho. The access was active at the time of his arrest. Forensic analysis showed he had logged into one of the Oregon systems less than 6 hours before the SWAT team arrived. There was also the live stream. During the standoff, Soren had been broadcasting video from his interior cameras to a dark web platform. The stream showed his monitors, his keyboard activity, and portions of his conversation with negotiators. At peak viewership, 11,000 users were watching. The chat log accompanying the stream contained messages encouraging Soren to resist and offering technical advice on countermeasures. The digital forensics team traced the streaming platform to a server cluster in Moldova. A request for international cooperation was filed through the Department of Justice's Office of International Affairs. As of March 2026, the Moldovan authorities had not responded. The 3 overseas associates identified in Soren's communications were referred to the FBI's international partners. 1 individual in the Netherlands was detained in February 2026. The other 2, located in jurisdictions with limited extradition agreements, remained at large. Erik Soren was arraigned in the United States District Court for the District of Oregon on January 16, 2026. He was denied bail. The indictment was expanded in February to include additional charges related to the live stream and evidence of water contamination threats in Montana, a state not included in the original investigation. The revised indictment listed 63 counts. If convicted on all counts, Soren faced a maximum sentence exceeding 40 years. The case prompted immediate policy responses. The Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency issued an emergency directive in February 2026 requiring all municipal water systems serving populations over 10,000 to audit and revoke legacy access credentials. 43% of surveyed systems reported finding active credentials belonging to former contractors or employees. The Department of Justice cited the case in a March 2026 policy memo calling for updated guidelines on tactical operations involving IoT-enabled structures. The memo noted that existing tactical doctrine did not account for suspects who could weaponize residential infrastructure against entry teams. The case also raised questions that extended beyond Soren himself. His ransomware campaign operated for nearly 3 years. 12 municipalities paid. Not one of those 12 payments was reported to federal authorities voluntarily. The payments were discovered only through the broader investigation. Congressional inquiries revealed that several city managers who authorized payments did so under emergency procurement authorities, bypassing city councils entirely. The payments were categorized in municipal budgets under headings like emergency IT services and infrastructure consulting. One city manager in central Washington resigned in February 2026 after the payments became public. 2 others faced recall efforts. The 12 cities that paid received decryption keys and saw the attacker withdraw from their systems. But the underlying vulnerabilities were not repaired. Soren's backdoors remained in place. He collected the ransom and kept the access. This was not an anomaly. A Government Accountability Office report issued in March 2026 found that 68% of municipal water treatment systems in the United States operated on SCADA software that had not received security updates in over 3 years. 31% relied on default manufacturer credentials for administrative access. Soren exploited a systemic weakness. His arrest removed one operator. The infrastructure he targeted remains largely as he found it. The trial is scheduled for September 2026 in Portland. The prosecution's evidence includes over 4 terabytes of data recovered from the 40% of Soren's servers that survived his deletion attempt. His defense team has filed motions challenging the legality of the CyberTac firmware push, arguing it constituted an unauthorized search of Soren's personal network. The legal question is straightforward. Can federal agents hack a suspect's home automation system to execute an arrest warrant? There is no precedent. The ruling, when it comes, will likely define the boundaries of tactical cyber operations in domestic law enforcement for years. 11,000 people watched a federal standoff in real time on the dark web. 12 cities paid a ransom and told no one. 43 water systems were compromised by a single person using credentials that should have been revoked years ago. Erik Soren is in federal custody. His servers are in an evidence vault. His code has been analyzed, cataloged, and classified. The SCADA systems he exploited are still running. Most of them have not been patched.